The unidentified craft, or UC, that fled from the explosion at Tower 59 was being pursued by scouts for 43 and 074 along the central line of the Razorstone Pass. The pass contains several types of terrain, though most of it is inaccessible by ground transport, and almost all of it is entirely uninhabitable. The region beneath the pursuit was jagged, but shallow, so there weren't any high cliffs or deep canyons for the UC to try to lose our scouts. And they weren't near the crippled towers, which are a mysterious formation of stone projectiles with bulbous, twisted caps that almost look like arms with terribly arthritic hands thrusting out of the ground toward the sky. They were keeping up, but they weren't gaining, so it was a task for the operators, as they were currently in darkness, and with pulsing not being an option with the weather conditions, they were left to enhanced viewers, which is similar to your infrared, and just as rudimentary. 074 lost the UC briefly, but 443 picked it up a few particks later. The overswirls in the atmosphere were preventing any of them from trying any kind of extreme maneuver, to either escape, or to gain advantage in the chase. In a situation like this, we would normally have one scout break off and have the remaining scout try to drive the UC into an outflanked position. But just keeping a scout steady and in the air could be a challenge in certain weather conditions, which is why they aren't even allowed to attempt to cross the Great Rift without assistance. So, we couldn't maneuver the scouts like we'd want, but we could still try to set a trap. Further down the pass from the chase, we began to assemble a small line of scouts and jumpers to hopefully serve as a net. As soon as one of the Guardian operators in the line spots the UC, the others would begin to maneuver to close in and around the target. The task was arduous and felt frustratingly clumsy. We were having dropouts in visual lock and communications with both 443 and 074. Our communication center was overloaded with the continued ongoings in the Crystal Plains and the Tower 67 site, and our comms supervisor, Dana, can have a flair for the dramatic under normal circumstances, but she was acting uncharacteristically agitated at any and all questions I was asking. Like I said, she can be some work at times, but she's very solid in her work, so something else must be going on with her. But that was the least of my problems at that point, as our connections to the pursuing scouts were cutting off more frequently and for longer periods, sometimes for as long as half a part or so. It was getting worse the further west they moved. Further down, our communications with the cruisers assembling the capture line were becoming spotty as well. We weren't sure how much longer we were going to have eyes and ears on any of it, and there was no telling how strong or large the weather patterns were that were causing all of it, so there certainly was no reason to hope that anything was going to improve anytime soon. And that was when I first heard one of our operators say, "Pulse swell." We asked for clarification, and the best we could determine was that the UC was dropping pulse swells and somehow detonating them in the air, prematurely. Soon, we're listening to static and looking at empty tracking pads. We had lost all monitoring on them. A part passed, then another. Our progress estimators put them about a quarter spin away from the cruisers in the capture line. Endeavour moves slower, so we're even further out, and that didn't help matters. We were now flying deaf and blind in the middle of the most aggressive act against our colony in recent memory.